I'm gonna begin this video with the ending. You know, the passion you have, the will to do it is like water, you know, finally making a small crack in that rock, in that mountain, whatever. Once you do that small crack, there's no way out, you know, it's gonna crack big time sooner or later. So that's what you need to remind yourself of. Whatever you're in pursuit of in this life, in this only life, I don't care what people say, this is the only one we can, you know, verify. You're here, I'm here, we're doing this, we're in the same time and space together. So this is all we have to share. And if we're not gonna do it here, in this realm, in this possibility, it's not gonna happen. I'm on my first day of a vacation, which is going to be about a week. So this whole summer has been slashed up a bit of few days here and there. And you know, we have this whole border crisis in the whole world, and Norway won't happen this year. The borders are closed. You can't even go to the neighboring countries. You can fly here and there, but yeah, there's no point in doing that. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a good time wherever you are. You might be in a country which is more, I don't know, suffering more than Sweden does. So yeah, it's my first, I mean, I worked today, so it's the first kind of vacation evening. My daughter was with me today. She sometimes works with me to get to know how it is to work, and she enjoys it. Children back in the days used to work at a young age, you know, milking the cows. Boys went into the army, into wars and stuff. So it's good to teach them how things are part of this kind of circle. You know, you have to put some effort, you get something for it, and to experience kind of various environments, which we have been doing back when we were traveling a bit here and there and so on. So yeah, for my vacation, it's gonna be some shorter trips here and there, just enjoying myself, having a rest. But there's still this kind of restlessness, you know, this kind of urge to kind of drive, just follow the sun, go to the north and so on. I won't be doing any hiking or camping, unfortunately. Maybe in the autumn sometimes, who knows. But I will compensate for that, as I've been mentioning in the previous videos, and that feeling is growing. So next year I really plan to take time off. And but here's the interesting part. If I was in this situation and I was, say, 22, 3, 4, 5, I, or you know, we could have been anywhere, like me and my wife, in the world, of course, if the border crisis didn't happen. But I could be just tenting around in north of Sweden or something like that. So there's this urge of, you know, being in nature. So what can one do about it? Buy a cottage? That's very nice. I've been thinking about that. But on the other hand, having a tent or putting the money into a van or something, you can be having cottages at various places. So I have this bucket list, you know, Norway, Sweden, Scandinavia next year, or perhaps during the autumn, but I think next year. And also down in my home region, my birth region, you know, Bosnia, and also along Croatian, all there, you know, beautiful places, lots of mountains, lakes, ocean, beautiful places to explore. And that's what I'm really yearning for, you know, this long-term, just, you know, being free, just roaming around. But I'm working, you know, full-time, so I'll have to wait with that. And it's a privilege, not problem, but thing to solve. And it's interesting because there are many people doing this sort of things, but they are by themselves, so it's easier. When you have a family, you have to put in some calculations on money, on time. So who knows, next year we might be doing something together, me and one of or two of the daughters. Maybe if we get some babysitting, my wife and I can go somewhere for a weekend or two, or by myself if it's kind of, you know, more hiking, kind of a demanding trip here and there. But you know, I'm so decided over next year, and it's such a sensation, you know, like standing here and kind of unwinding. I've been out in nature today. You know, at work you meet a lot of people, you have lots of things to do professionally, and so on and so on. So it's good to just drive around, listen to some good music, and in some sense that kind of always resets me and boosts my kind of focus. So yeah, also one thing I will do for this vacation is kind of to reset center a bit, wind down, do some juicing, you know, take a solid food vacation, and work out a lot. Yeah, I don't have any time to work out. I don't go to a gym and such. What I do is I run to a place perhaps, and there's an outdoor gym, and I do things there. Also at work I have some physical moments, so that's a good practice. But really, one really needs to kind of center from time to time. You know, I always say, like, a man needs a week or two by himself, as much as you can get, and where it fits during the year, to kind of focus, evaluate, and boost up. I remember when I was doing Zen retreats as a young man, having all the time in the world. I did that, you know, to further my meditation practice and so on. But I remember people there who had families or didn't, or were just older. They planned for that for like half a year, 1 year in advance. And I always thought, like, wow. But I can understand that, because it's important to kind of connect with yourself, to realize, you know, what makes you happy, what triggers your best side, your best mood, your best whatever. And you know, there are many obligations to do, so I can understand that now, although I did understand back then, but even more now. And it's very important to do that, especially like for myself, you know, mid-30s, and between the age of 25, 35, you do successes, failures, you have, you know, you make a family perhaps, you get experience in career, in your professional life, and then you have many years left. So you really have a resume of who you are, what you like, what you're satisfied with, and you know, just to tap into that and kind of see, hey, how do you want to live your life? Now, this year has shown us that, you know, things can happen quite swiftly and awkwardly. So we have this border crisis, and who knows what's around the corner. So, you know, things always change and such. But anyway, when you kind of look back upon the years between 20, 30, 25, 35, you can really project how you want your life to be. And for me, the biggest thing is time, actually, to have time to contemplate, to have time to focus on things. And it's easy to kind of get into the mode and be productive and do this and that, and there's a time for everything. But when you think about your life ahead of you, and I'm kind of boosted up by some 80s guitar solos in the car right now, but anyway, you can really kind of see, where do you want your life, your only life here, to project itself. I mean, sometimes I really feel like I'm making a thread about what's going on in the world. I have information, and, you know, there's so many things to keep in mind and be informed about, but in the end, what matters is what you do with your existence here, how you feel you're creating your own bubble, and that's what it's all about. Because without that, everything kind of falls flat. And you know, as I said in these two previous videos, and I know it's been a lot about, you know, maybe what I'm talking about next year and this and that, but you know, this is a journey that's starting, and I'm kind of like evolving and sharing this experience with you. and with myself, and as a document, you know, when my children grow up, they can see this and see, you know, what dad said, what he did, and so on. One important thing is always to find like-minded people or groups of people, and that is the hard part. People with whom you can share your experience with, people who might share their experience and give you some insight to what's, you know, ahead of you. Because depending on how one wants to live their life, right? And we want to live in a certain way, that is not something you can kind of wait with. There's no perfect time to make a stand and kind of decide and begin something. There's no perfect occasion, there's no economically perfect situation for that. You always work. It's a never-ending story in that sense. But it's hard because the more you're into it, the more you practice, the more you live by the way you feel like you should be living, the more it becomes your own nature. And say like in 10-20 years, it's much easier. You know, you have done it, you know how things work, you know how it is to you know, find a place to rent in another country, and you might have connections, you might have you know, a good person from who you can rent an apartment someplace, or a cottage. You have come across people who kind of share your experience, people who are into this digital working lifestyle, people who, you know, are into investing money, and from who you can kind of, you know, see how they did it, how you can do it. It's not really that dark, it's just the camera. So anyway, that's my kind of ambition here. That's why I've been making the 2 last videos and this one, because that's kind of what's cooking, right? And why not? Because when you're in a beautiful place, when you have the sunset like that, when you are really in a good mood and you really feel centered, and you sense like life is all around you, you realize there's no going back, there's no sidetracking, there's nothing. You have to do what you love to do and get better at it. So having more time, not standing on one leg, no way, and to be free to actually make a living of totally what you love. And in a sense, I'm in that spot right now. I'm having my light shining on me from the cars driving by. Thank you. With all that said, I'm gonna drive back home, take a good shower, and you know, start working on some things, and start my cleansing week, my juice week of the year, the detoxing week. So yeah, I hope you have a good start of August, and thank you for watching. All the best. Ciao.